Hello, I'm Rachel Patterson. I would like to talk today about balance. This is the card that I drew for the weekend. It's from my Flower Magic Oracle. Flower Magic Oracle cards. All of the pictures that are included on the cards were taken from plants and flowers in my own garden. So I'm very familiar with all of the plants and I've worked with them all. But this is the one that I drew for today. And it's begonia. It's all about balance. Let me read you the little bit of blurb in the book. So there's a chant with it. Seeking balance that must be found, shuffle, rearrange, and you are bound. To seek and find that which you need, suggestions made, so do take heed. Turn around the chaos in your life, invite in harmony, and release all strife. I think balance is possibly something that all of us are always seeking, trying to find. It can be an elusive creature at times. Having an inharmonious, that's my big word of the day, having an inharmonious work, home, family, friends, social life not only causes chaos, but it can be detrimental to your health, well-being, and your sanity. There speaks the voice of experience. Time to take a little peek at how your life balances out. What do you need to do to address it? How can you rearrange things to make your life more comfortable and manageable, allowing yourself a bit of me time too? Make a list, write it down, type it up on the computer, do whatever you have to do to allow yourself to step back and see the big picture and how it all plays out. There will be some uncomfortably overwhelming items, probably on the work side, and not so much on the nice, enjoyable things in life column. Sort it out now before things get out of hand. And I think that is something that we've probably all fallen into the trap of on occasion, possibly more times than we should have done. It is about seeking balance. Even tiny, weeny little changes or tweaks to your routine, to how you do things, to your daily life, can make a difference and can readdress the balance. Begonia itself, very underrated summer bedding plant, I think. It's probably fallen out of fashion a bit. I think it's probably quite an old-fashioned one. Very, very pretty flowers. Comes in reds, pinks, whites and yellows. The leaves are just as magical as the flowers. Some of them have large leaves that are shaped like dragon wings, so they're brilliant for dragon magic. There's another variety that has leaves shaped like angel wings, so you can use it in angel magic. Throw them in incense blends and medicine pouches once they're dried. They not only work for balance, they also work for passion, purification and friendship. In fact, begonia has an awful lot of correspondences. It's about heightened awareness as well, psychic abilities, dark thoughts, being cautious, harmonious communication, gratitude for someone, individuality, justice, peace, and it also protects from gossip. Interestingly, in the Victorian language of flowers, it actually means beware of someone with a fanciful nature. So just in case, it's always wise to be forewarned. Begonia is a unisexual plant, so it's got male and female flowers on the same plant, hence I think probably the balance energy that comes into it. The plant genus was named after a former governor of the French colony, and I apologise for my French pronunciation here, Saint-Dominique. His name was Michel Bigon, which actually sounds like an instruction or a curse, really. Michel Bigon. I'm sorry, Michel Bigon, that's very rude. They are subtropical or tropical, and they love the heat and the sunshine. Brilliant plant. They flower right through the summer. This was obviously a pink one that we had, but we've had some fantastic orange hanging basket ones as well, which have been amazing. I'm not really sure what the little lady on there is doing. She's either on fire or possibly, I don't know, she's having a bit of a problem with her candle, I think. I think it's supposed to be the light and the dark. I did write all of the information for the cards. I did take all the photos of the flowers. I didn't actually design them. Kate Osborne did those for me, and she added these ladies. Some of them are brilliant. This one just looks, she does. She's light and dark, bless her. So that's the card for balance, and Begonia is absolutely brilliant for that. But if we look at balance as an actual intent, there's lots of other things that you can work magic with to bring in the layers of balance if you want to add it all together, or if you don't have Begonia, you can use other things. Alyssum is one of another summer bedding plant, little pretty white flowers that you can use. Dry the whole flower stem. It's lots of little flowers on a stalk. Don't pick the individual flowers off, you'll be there forever. Chamomile, I'm sure we're all familiar with that one. White daisies in a sort of grass, really. You can drink that one as well, obviously, as a tea to bring balance. Dill, quite a useful herb, goes quite often with fish. That one you can use to eat or use dried in your magic spells. Elm is another one for balance. You can use the bark or the leaves. Holly, another balance one. Use the leaves or dry the berries and use them as well. Honeysuckle, one of my favourites for magical workings. It's also really good for prosperity. I dry the flowers and the leaves of that one. Patchouli, probably something that we're more familiar with as an essential oil or an incense rather than the plant. If you want to use any of these and you don't actually have the dried plant or herb, you can use the incense. If you've got patchouli incense sticks or cone, just crush them up and use those in your magic workings. Rue, another one. Witch hazel, you could use the bark or the leaves of that as well. And woodruff, pretty little woodland flower, that petals and leaves you can use for that. They're all really good herbs and plants for working magic with balance. There's a few foods that you can use for magical workings for balance. Licorice is one of them. Bit of a love or hate one, that. You might love it, you might hate it. I actually love it. You can use these sweets, the little sticky black licorice all sorts sweets in your magic, but they do get a bit icky. If you can get hold of the licorice root, then that's much easier to use in your magical workings. It literally does look like a stick, but if you chew it, it tastes of licorice. Another one is mushrooms, possibly another love or hate one. I think mushrooms, the balance comes from the light and the dark, that they grow quite happily in the dark, and then once they're above, they're light, so that's quite a good one. Don't use fresh mushrooms in your medicine pouches or your witch bottles because they will go yucky, but you can get dried mushrooms that will work for that. And another love or hate one seems to be it, isn't it? Love or hate, bit of balance again, see? Oysters. Now, personally, there's not much that I don't eat, but oysters taste like salty snot. It's not my thing at all, and you wouldn't use them in magical workings as such, but you can eat them to get the magical energy of balance. You can use the shells though. The shells would be quite useful for magical workings. You could work little spells in the actual shell. So that's foods really. Got some crystals here as well. These crystals all associate with balance. Some of them I've got, some of them I haven't. The first one is agate. I've got a black agate here, if you can see that. Agate comes in all different sorts. There's a banded one here as well. You can see it. It's a bit small. You only need to use a tumblestone. You don't need to spend a lot of money. You don't need to have an enormous crystal to work magic with it. The tumblestones are fine. Amber's another one. I have got some amber, but the pieces are so small you'd never see them on the screen. Green aventurine, really, really useful. Not expensive to buy. Really useful for quite a lot of different magical workings. Really good for prosperity as well. But green aventurine for balance. Chrysocolla, which I don't have, but it is beautiful and it's on my wish list, so next time I get to a crystal shop I will. This one's chrysoprase. I know this. Here's my secret. Look, it's got a label on the bottom. If I get a new crystal, so that I remember its name, I put labels on the bottom, because I have got quite a lot of crystals and I forget what they are. So that one's chrysoprase. Copper's really good as well for balance, but also for conducting energy. One of my favourites here, Fluorite, greens and purples. That's all about balance. This one might be a bit dark to see. This one's Garnet. Quite a deep red colour. Very pretty stone, particularly when it's cut. Hematite. Now this one I can't work with. It's there's very few crystals that I can't with, but you will find crystals are like people. There will be some that you like and some that you don't like and some that you just don't get on with. Hematite is the one that I don't get on with. I find it really, really heavy and quite oppressive, but it is good for grounding, so maybe I don't want to be grounded, I don't know. But hematite's good for balance as well. Jasper, and I've got red jasper here. That's very good as well. Very tiny, weeny piece of kyanite here. Very pretty blue crystal. I suspect it's one of the more expensive ones, which is why I've only got a tiny piece. Lepidiolite, which is a brilliant name, and you might not be able to see, but it is a faint lilac colour. That one's very pretty, good for balance again. Moonstone, another one I'm never very sure about working with. Moonstone, I think it looks like a piece of cooked fish and I think that always puts me off. But I think it is really good for moon magic, obviously, but very good for balance. But yeah, it looks like a piece of cooked fish. This, if you only ever buy one crystal, one tumblestone, clear quartz, it's brilliant as an all-rounder. It's brilliant for everything. You can use it for cleansing other crystals, and you can charge it for any intent that you want to use. So obviously good for balance if that's what you need it for. Very tiny piece here, rose quartz. It's just got a very pale pink sheen. Quite a gentle energy, I think, rose quartz, and it's very good for romance and friendship as well. Two here with labels on again. This one's rhodochrosite, and then the next one is rhodonite. They actually look quite similar, which is why I've got labels on them, but both very good for balance. Selenite is the next one. It's like quartz, but it's cloudy. Very, very good for divine connection as well, that one, and any spiritual work. Silver is a good metal as well to work with for balance. Sodalite is the next crystal, blue one with white in it. That one's very good. Sugilite, which I haven't got a piece of. On Sunstone I have got a piece, but it's on Belanus's altar, and he's not given it up. So, yeah. Tiger's Eye. This actually comes in different colours as well. I've got a piece of red Tiger's Eye as well, but I'm probably quite familiar with that one, but very good for balance again. Tourmaline, which I haven't got. Turquoise. A lot of the turquoise pieces that you find have actually been dyed, which is why they're a really bright turquoise colour. And last but not least, one of my favourites, Unakite, green with pink bits in. All of those crystals are really good for balance, but go with what you've got and go with what your intuition tells you. If you're working a spell for balance, just look at your crystals or your herbs or your foods and see which ones you think will work best for balance. And if you want as well to work with oracle cards, obviously, find the keyword. If you work with the keyword there, it gives you focus. It gives your spell a focus. Or if you want to meditate, so if you wanted to meditate on balance, put this card in front of you and focus on the image and meditate with the card as well. All of the herbs and food references, bit of a plug here, came from these two books of mine. Obviously, they've got all the correspondences in of all the herbs and plants and all the foods and all of the intents. But if you want as well, if you've not got an oracle card with the word that you want, tarot cards are really good as well, and I am working with this one, my favourite tarot set at the moment. So cards that work with balance are the Lovers, obviously, that's quite a obvious one there. Balance in the whole picture of the card there. Then there's Justice. You've got balance in that image as well there. Temperance. Although she does look a bit precarious, that woman. Maybe that's where the balance comes from. She's actually doing a balancing act to stay up there. But another card for working with balance. We've got the Two of Swords. Again, you've got balance in the image. Two of Swords, I think, is more about balancing of your mind, of your thoughts. And then you've got Two of Cups. And I think this one is about balancing your emotions. And then you've got the Four of Wands. Again, there's balance in that picture. I think that's probably more, you could use that really well for balancing your work and home life. Go with your intuition again, but these, I like cards to use as a focus in spell work. They bring the whole thing together and give it a focal point and tie it all together for me. But that's balance really. Candle spell. Get a candle or even two candles if you want for balance of different colours that complement each other. Sprinkle them with herbs, eat your oysters, place a crystal of your choice in front of them, work your spell, and then carry the crystal with you to remind you about the balance of energy. But that's the card, Begonia and balance. It really is something that we all look for on a regular basis, and sometimes it is really hard to find. But make tiny changes, even little weeny tiny tweaks can help bring the balance. And working a bit of magic as well. Even if you just pop an oracle card or a crystal or a tarot card up on your altar or somewhere where you see it, that makes you think of balance. It'll maybe, spark a little bit to maybe think about how you do things and how you might change your routine just to bring about a bit of balance. So that's it. That was from the Flower Magic Oracle deck, and again doing my little marketing bit here from the Magical Food and Magical Plants and Herbs books. But trust your intuition. Go with what you've got to hand. Go with what works for you really, but make it happen. So thank you very much for listening.